All right. So 12 p.m. We're getting started right on time. Um, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Welcome to another NJ Thrives webinar. I've actually haven't hosted one in a while. So if I'm rusty, please, forgive me. So yeah, this is another weekly webinar where we create some value for you and we help business owners in New Jersey start, grow, and thrive. So I'm your host, Christian Pichardo, but we'll skip that because we have more important guests out here for today. But before we get into our guests, just want to explain a little bit about the NJSBDC if you don't know what we do. So basically, we are a statewide program. We're powered by the SBA and NJBAC and other partners. And basically, they help us help small businesses like you with three things. So we have no cost small business consulting, training and events that start at $0, just like this one. You didn't pay a dime. I saw you. And three is exclusive resources. So, so we provide all these free resources for you, and some wonderful partners are going to be here to explain some more programs that might be available for you. Part of this webinar is our Shop Small campaign. So if you don't know, next week is Small Business Saturday. And basically we wanted to kick it off with this webinar. We have some interesting sort of resources for you, and also a guide that we made specifically for small businesses in New Jersey. So we're going to get into all that soon. But actually, I want to go ahead and skip to a wonderful host here, Kelly Brosna, CEO and State Director of the NJSBDC. Oops, go ahead. I think you're muted.
I
There you
am
go.
muted. I am now unmuted between a potential bad hair day to being unmuted. So forgive me. It's been a long day already. So welcome everybody. We are so excited to have you here and also trying to help businesses to be successful for Small Business Saturday. You're going to have an amazing lineup of resources. And thanks to Christian with putting this together and bringing this all-star team to be able to provide those resources to you. But just real quick, I want to just talk about, why Small Business Saturday is really important and sort of the meaning behind it. And it really is a day to support small businesses in their local communities, in your local communities. We are here to truly, truly support all businesses, especially the small and medium-sized businesses. And not sure if everybody is aware, but Small Business Saturday really got kicked off in 2010 by American Express to really push out to shop local and make sure that sort of it little bit of a boost for small and medium-sized businesses in between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So Shop Small Saturday really is about trying to give that little extra boost before the holiday season to put those small businesses on the right track. And we are super excited to be able to provide these resources, additional resources to you that you may consider and think about as you're putting your best foot forward of trying to help get kicked over to the next year. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you all for participating. Thank all of our speakers for being here. And as I mentioned, you have a all-star lineup of amazing talent and resources that are going to be helping you. So excited for all of you and excited to be able to be here today. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. All right. So you've heard it from the boss herself. So let's get into the agenda. So for today, we're going to go over some headlines and then we'll jump into the presentation of our speakers. And I'm on purpose, I'm keeping it a little bit of a secret, but I'll give you a hint. It's the top to organizations that provide resources in New Jersey for small businesses. Hint, hint. And then after the presentations, we'll go into some Q&A where we're going to answer your questions that have to do with Shop Small. So anything that has to do with the holiday season, how to get your business ramped up, to, be able to sell, how to get your finances in order and things like that. So jumping into the headlines, we've just released this probably in the last hour or so. But we do have, there we go, not sure why that didn't work. But we kick off Shop Small season with our Support Local and Grow New Jersey campaign. So this is the NJSBDC's campaign for Shop Small, where we're going to drive attention to small businesses in New Jersey. And we have some interesting stuff going on. So that includes this webinar, but it includes also sort of resources that we want to send you all. So I'm not going to read through this entire press release. I'll leave this here for you, but here are some resources that I think are going to be helpful. We have a holiday marketing mastery that we had several weeks ago that I think is super important to watch. We have another link here that'll show you sort of essential business tools at a discount. We have our small business resources hub. And of course, our no-cost counseling is always available. And part of this, I'm excited to say that we have a little success guide for you. This is hot off the press. And here is 7 things that you need to prepare for the holiday shopping season. It goes over what to do on your Google business profile, what to do on your website and things like that. It's pretty granular. So, I'd take this together with, the webinar recording of Holiday Marketing Mastery. Watch the recording, apply the guide that we're going to share after this webinar, and you should be golden. So that is one. Number 2 is, as Kelly mentioned, Shop Small and Small Business Saturdays sort of started as a campaign by American Express. And here are some resources that they share to small businesses. So this is a great page, to get some information on business and even stories. Here you have some inspiration. Here you have those discounts I was talking about. And yeah, just more resources for you, really. And then here is a sort of report by Visa. Here's where it sort of explains the transition of generational wealth and things of that nature. Again, this is just informational. I'm going to put it in the chat soon, and you guys could open it and read it later on. But really, the focus of this webinar is Shop Small season. So let's go ahead and get started. So things to keep in mind, please type your questions into the Q&A box. If you put it in the chat, it might get lost between all the different conversations. But if you put in the Q&A box, we can prioritize your question. Number 2, after this webinar, you're going to get a 3-minute survey. It's very quick. But once you submit that, you're going to get all the webinar resources, including the recording to this, the slideshow, plus that holiday guide I was talking about. And then number 3, the link is shared of the chat. So you don't need to sort of worry about anything getting lost. Webinar will be recorded. We post that on our YouTube channel next day, usually. And then the chat is also shared. So let's go ahead, and I'm excited to present our speakers. First up, we have Mr. John Blackstock, NJSBA District Director. One of the greatest people I know. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor there. And if you have anything to share, feel free to share screen. And I'll stop sharing here.
Thanks, Christian. Good morning, everybody. Like you said, I'm John Blackstock, the director for the New Jersey Small Business Administration. Next week, next Saturday is the Small Business Saturday. This is an opportunity to visit the smallest of the small businesses where you can find, one of the kind, unique items. These are not going into the big box stores where you're getting heavily discounted items. This is keeping your money in your community. It's a win-win for all. So I encourage everybody to go visit some of those smaller shops in your community. So the Small Business Administration, I do want to highlight a few things. We have had some new developments recently. The first, during COVID, obviously we had the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loans. Both of those programs have closed. We have moved on, but there's a lot of applicants that took the Economic Injury Disaster Loan that some are having some significant problems. Some businesses haven't fully recovered. So the SBA has stood up a center for the economic development injury loans. So it's our CESC, our servicing center. We are referring anyone who's got idle issues to work with our servicing center. The second thing, we took down our federal certification platform probably in August. Since then, we have created a new website. A landing page is at certifications.sba.gov. On that site, you have the ability to apply for all the certifications that you're eligible for. And there's four. There's the 8A program, there's women-owned, veteran certified, and the Hub Zone. More information can be found at certifications.sba.gov. The SBA, we still have our four main pillars: access to capital, i.e. providing loans with lenders in our network, federal contracting opportunities, counseling like the SBDC, one of our largest, biggest counseling across the country. There's SBDCs located in every state. We also have SCORE, Women's Business Centers, and VBOC, that's Veterans Business Outreach Centers. And then the last pillar is the disaster resilience and recovery. Right now, the SBA, we don't have funding for any of the disasters, the declared disasters across the United States. We're waiting on the appropriations to be approved by Congress. They should have something out shortly. The SBA will continue accepting applications. However, there's no money to immediately fund those businesses, homeowners that are affected by a disaster. Those are the big ticket items for the SBA. I encourage everyone to look at the SBA, where if you're not in New Jersey, Google SBA in your state. Some states have more than one district office. Some of the larger states, they might have 3 or 4. New Jersey, we have one. We've got personnel aligned to help with federal contracting, to assist lenders. The SBA is not a direct lender. The only direct lending we do is in the form of economic injury disaster loans, i.e. disasters. Other than that, we've got folks that in our network, resource partners that can help you with counseling, starting a business, business planning, scaling your business, social media, you name it, anything short of legal advice, our resource partners can help you. And it all starts with consultation, and that consultation is free. A lot of people don't realize that. You can hire a consultant out in the civilian sector to help you, or you can use the SBA and its resource partner network. So, Christian, that's all I've got. I'm going to stand by in case there's some questions at the end. And again, next Saturday, Small Business Saturday. I shop small business as much as I can. I think it's great. If I tour, if I visit, do a day trip, it's always to see a small business. I'm supporting the local economy. I might be that that customer that keeps that small business in business. They might be waiting for me to keep those lights on. So that's how I approach it. Everybody have a good afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, John. All right. So as you heard, he might stick around for some questions. So I don't think you want to lose that opportunity. John is a very busy man, let me tell you. So let's put in some questions for him in the Q&A box. But now to our next guest, we have Mr. Donald Newman from NJBAC. He is the Small Business Office Manager, and here to talk about more small business resources.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm going to share, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to share a screen just to give you a little bit of idea of who we are and what we do. So as you say, I'm with the New Jersey Business Action Center. That is an organization that is run by Taisha Way, who is also the Lieutenant Governor, and she functions as the Secretary of State, and that's where we are housed within that. And my executive director is Melanie Willoughby, and we're business advocates. So I'm going to leave this slide up as I speak because it has the contact information that you'll need, and I'll address some of the things on here as we go along. So what we do is we're business advocates. We help businesses navigate state government. I happen to work on the small business advocacy team, so I help navigate state government. I encourage small business, not only consumers, to shop small, which is important, but I also encourage you to work with the Small Business Development Center as business owners to learn how to market yourself and how to respond to the change in the way customers purchase. I know we through the history we've had people going to malls and leaving the downtown areas. We now have people not going to malls anymore, but going to the big box stores or going to Amazon. Customers change the way their purchasing habits. We want to encourage people to remember those small businesses, remember those downtown districts, and to shop there. But also we want small business development centers to provide you with the tools that will help you address those kinds of changes. So that's what this is really all about. But I'm going to talk to you a bit about what we do. So as a small business advocate, and that's who I'm going to focus on, I help businesses in a lot of different ways. I can help you find resources like the small business development centers, like the SBA programs, also programs available through the Economic Development Authority. So if you have recently signed a new lease for a commercial space, or you've improved a commercial space, there may be some grant money available to you to reimburse you for some of those costs. If you have a home-based childcare center, there's some grant money available to you for improvements that you've made at your childcare center. Then there are also some financing programs as well through the EDA Small Business Fund or their Premier Business Services. I will help you connect that to them. Our new tagline is Answers, Advocacy, and Connections. So right now I'm talking about connections, connecting you to the resources that are available to you. In terms of advocacy, we help you navigate state government. So if you want, if you're going after one of those grants, for example, one of the things you'll need is a tax clearance certificate. Not the easiest thing to get, but I can help you navigate that process and help you get your tax clearance. Or John had mentioned some of the certifications that the federal government offers. State also offers a series of certifications for women, minority-owned businesses, small businesses, LGBTQ businesses, veteran-owned businesses, service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, and economically disadvantaged, socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. And I'm amazed I did that without pause and got them all right. We can help you navigate that and get those certifications, and they can help you in a lot of different ways. I'm going to post in the chat a list of some of the other groups that we have within the Business Action Center, but I am going to point out one specifically. Actually two specifically. One is our export promotion team. We can help a small business become an exporter. Guess what? Only 2% of the world's population live in the United States. And then 98% of your potential consumers live outside. So exports is a way you can expand your business. And another group that we just launched just a couple of weeks ago is our Cannabis Training Academy. Cannabis industry, you cannot use some of the resources that are available to other businesses because of federal funds, and I won't get into the legalities of all that, but we have launched a virtual training program for the people that are interested in the cannabis industry. So you can reach out to me and I will tell you about that. But on the screen now, you see my contact information. You also see 1-800-Jersey-7. That is our call center. My staff responds to those calls. So you can always ask for me, or my staff will be willing to help you. There's also a live chat on the business.nj.gov site, which allows you to ask your question within the chat platform. Again, my staff is answering those conversations, and we can transfer you to the Treasury Department, Labor, the EDA, all within that same platform to answer any questions that would involve those offices. And then you also have our website, which is actually it's nj.gov. You don't need the state.nj.us. That URL will work, but at nj.gov/state/BAC is probably easier to remember. And we have a business manual, about a 30-page document on operating a business in the state of New Jersey, getting registered, making sure and it's a good resource for startups, but it's also a good resource for established businesses to kind of use as a reference. So I encourage everyone to go on there, either order a printed copy or download a copy, electronic copy, if you're more inclined to that kind of a format. So that's who we are and what we do. I am, again, happy to answer any questions. I'll be sticking around for a little while. But we provide you answers. We advocate for you when it comes to the regulatory bodies. We're not your attorney, but we can help you navigate that regulatory process. And we connect you to the resources that are available. That's basically what we do. And I'm happy to discuss that further with anyone that is interested. So like I say, I'm going to go ahead and put a little explanation of who we are, not who we are, but what each of the offices do into the live chat. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I appreciate the Small Business Development Center inviting us to speak to you today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Don. Always a pleasure to have you. All right, so you heard him. He is going to be in the chat. So make sure you put in some questions into the Q&A box. They could also see the Q&A box as well. So would love for everyone to, submit questions there while you can get them on this webinar. Great. So now we have jumped into the Q&A. I'd like to welcome my colleague here, Brian Silvestre. He's another NJSBDC consultant. Basically we're here to answer your questions. I'll let Ryan introduce himself for a little bit, and then we'll get into the answering whatever you guys got.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Chris. So yeah, my name is Ryan, and I've been an SBDC consultant since 2009. But more recently, in the last couple of years, I've been with the Capital team. So it's a group of specialized consultants that focus specifically on how to help a business get access to capital in general. So whether that means identifying a tax credit or a loan or a grant, our job is to help prepare you financially to make any type of, take advantage of any type of opportunities in front of you. For example, today is one of the focuses that I would like to make sure that we touch on is how to get your business prepared for Small Business Saturday and any other seasonal, peak in your business from a financial aspect. What systems do we need to have in place in order to not only take advantage during these seasonal peaks, but how to thrive during these seasonal peaks, and then more importantly, scalability and sustainability. So that's where I want to drop a few little nuggets of knowledge on.
Awesome, awesome. So let me just make sure we have the screen right here. But I will read out some of the questions to start.
Okay.
And we will go from there. So in our Q&A box, first question. Is there someone who is also an NJSBDC consultant with expertise in Amazon marketing and that could help with small business? So a specific NJSBDC consultant, we have over, I believe it's 100 consultants, right, Ryan, across the network?
About, yeah, about.
Yeah. So, and they all have, you know, their own individual expertise. So I would connect with your local SBDC and ask one of the consultants if they do. But, you know, like I mentioned, we have tons of consultants that just know a little bit about everything. So that it would be a long list to tell you. All right. So next question here is from Barbara. Is this just for small business shop owners? I am going to ask if you can clarify what you are referring to as far as maybe the SBA resources or NJBAC resources, or just in general this webinar.
Mhm.
And then we can maybe get back to that question. Ryan, this question from Tiffany. She
Okay.
asks, would this also be applicable to nonprofit organizations?
Well, the resources that are available are very specific to who they can apply, and each resource has different guidelines. For example, Don Newman just mentioned a program for cannabis education for those businesses in that industry. That program allows those businesses to be participating in this program, but we don't have that program on our side. So to answer your question, whether this could be for nonprofits, general marketing is for anybody. You know, general assistance is for pretty much anybody. But when I'm looking at a specific resource, I should look at who is eligible. So every program has a different eligibility criteria, and that's how I would look at it. So there's not one general resource that we're talking about here on today's podcast, but it's usually letting you know, hey, there's a bunch of different programs available here at this organization, that organization, and look at the eligibility criteria for each one. That's how I would address it.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so I don't know if you guys see it, but in the Q&A, I am actively seeing Donald typing answers out to your questions and John as well. So, you know, like I said, it's not all the time that you get the district director of the SBA and the NJBAC on a call answering your questions directly. I would highly encourage you to submit questions here.
Absolutely.
So I have a question that has to do with finance, Ryan, and let me just clear it up actually for the audience, that you can ask questions for Shop Small and could be about funding, finance, or marketing. So I am the marketing consultant, Brian's sort of the finance guy. And we can speak about anything on the NJSBDC. So yeah, just to sort of direct what type of questions you guys can ask. But yeah, Brian, I have a question where it says from Holly, I would like to get more information on the steps to get working capital.
Ooh, it's a great little setup. I appreciate that question because by great coincidence, the SBA just launched a new working capital program, you know, that I think is pretty exciting to hear about. And just as a reminder, what the SBA's role is in the capitalization world, or just access to capital world, they're there really as a bridge to those businesses that are just shy of being traditionally bankable. So it's a great way to get access to capital when normally other normal traditional banks might be a bit more conservative in nature and say, I want a little bit more experience, or I want a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. The SBA is a little bit more flexible on giving you those funds that we need in order to start or grow a business. So the working capital program provides just that. And then also to Don Newman's point, there is a large amount of business to be done overseas. An extension of that working capital program that SBA just launched, there is an export working capital program, which is something that that if it's applicable to you guys, definitely bring it up to your consultant, to your advisors, to your to your accountant to see if these things are available. But to answer your question specifically, there are a bunch of products out there. I have to always match the use of proceeds to the sources of funds. And a little trick that I like to reference in the back of my head is I look at the type of spending that I'm going to be doing. And if it's a long-term debt, like long-term acquisition, like a piece of machinery, that will always match to long-term debt. So long-term assets will match long-term debts. A short-term asset, like for example, Small Business Saturdays, and we are maybe looking at our cash flow, what new inventory do I need, or what new budget do I need for the promotion for this, seasonal peak that I have. Making sure that that money's there. That's a short-term gain, it's a short-term asset. So that will be matched with a short-term debt product. So somebody like me, will be able to look at how you plan on spending your money, and then making sure that we match the right dollars to the right uses. But there's plenty of options out there. Did I answer the question now, Christy? I don't know. I felt like I might have rambled on a little bit too long.
You're the finance guy. To me, all finance is ramble.
Yeah.
I'm the marketing guy. Just, talk to me about the social media stuff.
Well, let me know if that question I answered, to the person who asked the question. Let me know if you want me to give a little bit more clarity there.
Awesome. So that was for Holly. Let us know if that answered your question. Great. Yeah, I'm seeing John here typing away. So this is great for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip the questions that he's answering now. Don asks, I just got on, is this for small business loans? So to answer your question, Don, this is more for just in general, small business support and resources. This webinar is themed for Shop Small. So getting ready for the holiday season, how to sell your products or services, or how to get, capital to do business in the holiday season and beyond. Hope that answered the question, Don.
I think it did, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Myland asks how to apply for working capital. So we just answered it, I believe. And then also John has put in the chat where the SBA has something called the SBA Working Capital Pilot Program.
Correct. Yep. That's what I was talking about a little while ago.
Yep.
So to be more specific with how do I apply? I think the first step is to reach out to a finance consultant, whether it's here at the SBDC or your own accountant, and say, I'm interested in accessing capital in some way, a line of credit as an example. The majority of the work happens before the application, which is making sure that my books are in order, making sure that my business plan is in order, or whatever the ask warrants. So some asks will warrant an entire business plan, but some might warrant just an executive summary. So working with a financial professional to say, I need this much money to do this type of thing, will dictate what steps you should be doing to prepare that loan package. And then we'll guide you through the steps and then handle the entire application up until funding.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, okay, finally, I think I'm seeing a marketing question. I was getting a little bit jealous. All the attention to working capital. No, I think that's a false alarm, actually. Question from Jennifer. Do you have any ideas on how EMACC, the Chamber of Commerce, can support our members during Shop Small aside from an email listing them? Hands-on ideas, etc. Well, we can't speak on what other chambers can do. So we are a business resources, a small business development center. So we can help you with no-cost counseling, training, events, and resources. So like I said, we can't say what chambers can provide to you or not, but we can connect you to them. So if you send us an email at info@njsbdc.com, we can connect you to the right people at a chamber in New Jersey.
Yeah. In general, I think any chamber provides or has the potential to provide a few different benefits. The first being networking. I recently worked with a business client that said, can you please give me all the providers of this service that speak this language, as an example. And because they're part of the chamber was able to create that list. So there's networking opportunities, general advocacy and support. Sometimes certain chambers, excuse me, do provide educational resources as well. So those are things to look at, and of course, marketing. They might give you a little bit of a platform or stage to stand on, depending on what's appropriate. Again, we can't speak on what that particular chamber of commerce can do or has the ability to do, but there are definitely ways to work together with them.
Awesome. So I got some updates from Jennifer, and she says she's the ED for the EMACC, the Chamber of Commerce. And she's just looking to provide, some info. So feel free, Jennifer, to put it in the chat, in the webinar chat, of any links and resources that you think might help small businesses. Feel free to also put your contact info there. I think that's important too. All right, just going through the questions here.
Let's see.
All right, so
I see a marketing question.
from. Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah,
please read
yeah.
it out. Please,
Yeah,
I've been looking for
so
one.
I'm gonna ask you a question. We'll switch it around a little bit. Let's see. Would the SBA have marketing experts to help with SEO and online marketing?
So the SBA or NJSBDC?
Well, the question says SBA, but I guess
Okay.
you can do a little plug with the SBDC and then go into SBA, maybe.
I'll plug SBA because John is hearing me right
Of
now.
course.
So just to sort of give context, so SBA and actually NJBAC and other organizations provide funding that support the NJSBDC. So they're head honchos. We are the soldiers that sort of help you directly. So SBA provides programs and we sort of execute on them. Can I say that, Ryan?
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah. So as far as help with, the question was on SEO and online marketing. So the NJSBDC can definitely support you with that. We have consultants that are marketing consultants that could help. And the webinar that I shared previously on holiday season marketing has some of that. But why don't you ask us a specific question on maybe what you're looking to get from your SEO or from online marketing, and we could answer it live on this call.
Yeah, to take advantage, you have Christian on the call today. He's our marketing guru. Yeah, and also to finish with the SBA answer, SBA does have a marketing templates available on their website that does address SEO, but it doesn't necessarily respond to your SEO needs. So that's when somebody like Chris would really, you should really take advantage of that he's here to ask them to specifically, how can I do this with that, whatever the question happens to be. Let's see. I'm looking through the questions as well. Okay. Let's see. Yes, there's a lot of questions here that I'm looking at. One of them, kind of stands out to me right now, and it says, how does my company connect to provide services? And I assume you're meaning, your company you want to be able to find other potential either procurement opportunities, and procurement opportunities is to get a contract. We do have at the SBDC consultants that specialize just on procurement and how to take advantage of any unique advantages that you might have. For example, there are these certifications that your business can have to get recognized and get a either access to a set-aside contract or just be a bit more competitive. And some of these certifications include small business enterprise certificates, minority business enterprise certificate, veteran business enterprise certificates. And what these do is that they'll make you a bit more attractive when submitting a bid to connect with a potential contractor, or not contractor, but a contract. You would be the contractor in that situation. So we do have those resources available in-house that can not only walk you through the steps of how to connect, but make sure that you are as best prepared and best dressed, so to speak, so that you can make the best impression when you do connect with those people. So that's how I would navigate that particular question.
Awesome.
Let's
So
see.
there's a little bit of a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
So someone else then asks, how do you find state and local contracts?
Okay. So I am not the procurement expert, but I do know a little bit about this. Each buying entity, sometimes if it's a municipality, might have a website. Some of the smaller towns, you might have to go in town to access what contracts are available. At a larger level, at a state level, there are certain websites that we can go to get access to what those contracts happen to be. But we have to make sure that we are structured correctly before accessing those websites. Some of the websites that I would go to would be like sam.gov, where we can find access to some of these some of these contracts. But again, every entity, like Port Authority, has their own purchasing portal. So find out which opportunities are the lowest hanging fruit for me. The way that I would determine that is by working again with one of the consultants. Say, this is my capacity. There's a statement that we would create, a capability statement that shows this is what I can do. I have this many resources on my side, so I can service a customer that has this type of need. Larger than that, it's out of my scope. Smaller than that, might not be the right fit for me. And they'll be able to say, hey, these are the low-hanging fruits available for you to jump onto those procurement opportunities.
Yeah, if you
So
don't
we
mind,
actually have Don here.
I'm going to
Oh
jump
yeah,
in.
please, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a very complicated question. I do 45-minute presentations on it, so it's a little beyond the scope of this, but I would recommend you sign up for njstart.gov. That's the state procurement's website to help you find contracts and also existing contracts where you may want to pursue subcontracting opportunities. And then the counties and municipalities, they do use organizations like the Educational Service Commissions. The biggest one is the Educational Service Commission of New Jersey, to purchase not only for school districts, but also for municipalities. So they're cooperative purchasing. You get a contract with them, you can sell to all their 600 or so members without going through a procurement process. But this is a very complicated issue, very highly regulated. So work with the Small Business Development Center, work with the Apex Accelerator out of New Jersey Institute of Technology, used to be called Procurement Technical Assistance Center, to get some technical assistance on these topics, or reach out to me and we can have a conversation as well.
We also have John.
Yeah, I just want to
Next
jump in on
village.
this also. I'm seeing a lot of questions. Everybody's got a smartphone, right? So if you have these questions and you're asking, how can I do this? How can I do this? Type it in Google for the state you're located in, and boom, you're going to have access to a lot of your questions are answered right there in the palm of your hand. So when we start looking at, I see a lot of these, what do I get help for state contracts? Look, these contracts are not going to fall in your lap. A lot of these programs are self-serve. You've got to hustle. You've got to position yourself. You've got to know what it is you're selling, who's buying what you're selling, and then engage those contracting officers. At the federal level, it's pretty easy. You know, the federal government, there's what, two dozen federal agencies. You have to know your customer. At the state level, if you're in New Jersey, if you Google New Jersey Department of Treasury, there's a whole department that does nothing but contracting at the state level. You can sign up. Now, I do know that they're looking for MBE, they're looking for women, they're looking for veterans. If you sign up with them, give them your email address, and you do the homework and tell them what your NICS codes are. If there's a contract that falls under that NICS, you will receive an email. Unbelievable. This is the only opportunity that falls in your lap that I'm aware of. You have to sign up for that. And that's New Jersey Department of Treasury. If you have not heard of the Ports Authority for New York, New Jersey, you're missing an opportunity. That group, they are self-funded. They look for contractors to come in and bid on some very, very big contracts. The difference between the federal, the state, and the Ports Authority will pay you twice a month. It is a phenomenal. So don't ask me what's their website or how do I contact them. I don't work with them. I just know the information's out there. Google Ports Authority, NYNJ contracting. You will go to a landing page. Submit your certifications. If you are not ready, again, contracting is a big pool. If you don't know how to swim and you jump in, you're going to quickly be overrun. Reach out to the SBDC network. Talk to these consultants. Don Newman brought up Apex Accelerators. If you're in Union County, contact UCEDC, Union County Economic Development. They've got contractors that can help you understand more about contracting. So there's a lot of information. But I encourage everyone, a little due diligence on your part. Show that consultant that you have at least walked down this path and you have some questions. They're not going to do all the work for you. I digress.
Awesome.
That's all right. I'm gonna digress too and tell you one of the messages I give when it comes to this. Yes, there are certifications you can get. You can sign up for NJ Start. You can do certain things, but all of those things are the key to the gym. Having a key to a gym does not do you any benefit. You have a lot of hard work to do once you get through that door. And that's what I'm gonna give you that message a lot. If you're talking to me about government procurement, you have to, get your certification, sign up for NJ Start, but you have to go after those contracts with, just like you would go after any other contract in the private sector. No one's going to open, it doesn't just, opening the door doesn't get you any benefit. The hard work that takes place once you get through that door in the gym, that's what gets you the benefits. So again, this is a big question. This is and there's a big answer to it. So reach out to the resources. Again, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it a little bit more in depth offline. But yeah, this is a big one. So make sure you do some work on this.
Yeah, and I think Don answered it perfectly. Only the one thing that he said, which is, this is the key to the gym. I actually have a friend of mine and a couple of clients too that said, all right, I got my certification. Why aren't the deals falling on my lap? It's because that you just got the gym membership. You have to go to the gym and actually have to start using the equipment. So you're still marketing and you're still making sales. You're still sending out emails. You're still doing all the hard work to get you the deal. The deals are not falling on your laps just because you have, certain registrations done already. But there is a system. So I don't want to discourage anybody. There is a system, and if you do the work, we'll provide the outline, and then you will be able to get eventually, the one contract and then 2 contracts and 3 contracts to scale your business.
Awesome. So I am finally seeing some marketing related questions. So most of them have to do with getting your website on the first page on Google, or how to drive traffic to a new business, online business. So we have this on our YouTube channel of a sort of foundations of marketing and things like that, I would encourage you to go to that webinar recording. But I'll give you sort of the cliff notes. So first, your business should be on all free online listing platforms. So we're talking about have a Google My Business profile. They might, I believe they call it something else, but it's all the same thing. Google profile, Google business page, whatever it is. Get on wherever your target demographic is on social media. So if it's on the younger side, open up a TikTok or a Snapchat. If you want something that sort of encompasses a large variety of people and demographics, then you might want to do Facebook. Instagram is still sort of good for most demographics too. And you definitely want to do short form videos. So that's what's popular right now as far as social media content. You post it on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok. Same video goes on all three platforms with a click, if you find the right software to do it. And yeah, so that's first step. Basically getting on all these free sort of online listing sites. And keyword is free. So that plus telling all your friends and family that you have a business. And I know most of us probably don't do that. Tell me the last time you collected a list of your contacts on your phone. You made an Excel sheet, put all the phone numbers you have in there, put all the emails that you have in there, and did a mass text or a mass email to everyone that you know and tell them, hey, I have this business that I'm trying to grow. Would you mind taking a look at it? Let me know if you want to buy anything. I'll give you a discount. If you've done that, kudos to you. If you have not, you're missing a big opportunity in your own backyard.
I'm talking about free online tools and just having more of a digital presence. If you guys are familiar with CISA, .gov, they provide free cybersecurity services and tools. And they have their own division similar to the SBDC, but it's focused on your digital presence and in your digital footprint. As our businesses move more towards an online community or online presence, with an app that supports my business, there's even there's actually a quick little example. There's a laundromat that I'm working with that now has an app that all the machines are controlled by the app. There's no more cash or anything done at the store itself, but it requires me to put information online, and as a result, it sets me up for potential cybersecurity attacks. And it's one of the core elements, I think, of doing business going forward, 2024, 2025, and 6 and beyond, is making sure that we are as protected as possible from all angles. So especially if it's a free tool, again, just check out CISA.gov for free cybersecurity tools. It's something I think is one of the core, elements of sustainability for new businesses.
Awesome. So I'm seeing some questions here. Will the Q&A be included in the presentation? Yes, the full webinar recording, including everything you're watching right now, is going to be recorded and put up on our YouTube channel. You can search us up with just NJSBDC on YouTube, and we should be one of the first channels that pop up. All right, so I am seeing a kind of specific question, and it's asking from Anonymous, how to reduce the impact of tax section 174 for a small business. So Brian, I'll let you say what you usually say to these types of questions.
All right. Well, so my corny go-to joke in this situation is I'm not an accountant, but if I was, I'm not your accountant. This is a question really for your accountant, but for the general usage, for the general high-level answer, I guess. So 174, if I remember correctly, again, not an accountant, but it refers to R&E expenditures, which is research and experimental expenditures. My opinion, and it's just an opinion, the more detailed we are with our or the more we track our dollars that come in and go out of our business, the better we can then dissect and then reconstruct that data to support whatever argument that we're trying to have. So in this case, we're trying to take advantage of 174 as much as possible. I would leverage as much, R&E expenses that as I could and have them recorded. But again, it's one of those areas where, like John mentioned a little while ago, we can't really provide legal advice. This is on the border of that. I don't want to provide tax advice. Outside of just, the obvious things of, optimizing your expenses, make sure everything's, detailed. I would hold this actually would be a good piece of advice. Most of us talk to our accountants once a year when it's time to prepare taxes. But we're not using our relationship with our accountants the right way if we're only talking to him or her once a year. What we should be doing is at least once a quarter have a meeting where we're looking at our financials. I want to get into, that's the direction I want to move into. I want to go there. I want to have, I want to be bankable by this time, or I want to have this much cash by this time, whatever the goal happens to be. Look at my performance over the last 3 months, and am I going in the right direction? What adjustments should I make to my financials to make sure that I achieve that goal, whatever that goal happens to be? That's how I would be managing my relationship, especially if I'm working with a CPA who has a bit, who has some type of certification that they can help you with that financial planning. But again, specifically to section 174, outside of regular reconciliations with your books, it comes down to maintaining that relationship with a financial advisor.
Awesome. So I'll take a pseudo marketing question here. Yogesh asks how to increase sales of our startup products. It is a financial payment service and a digital signatures service. So you're already in the online space. This is actually a nice hack that you can do. I would, if you have pricing that's competitive with the top payment, financial payment services and processing. I know a big issue with the larger ones, such as PayPal and Stripe, is that they will hold your funds, usually for no, direct explanation. They kind of won't tell you why. I know that this is a big issue in the e-commerce space, so I'm going to assume it's sort of common across most industries. So if you have a competitive edge as far as, hey, we don't hold your funds, or at least, we provide an explanation, or we only hold it for 5 days if there's any issue that we see, anything of that nature, you can do a sort of cold outreach campaign. And what that is you find a list of, let's say, for example, it's the e-commerce space that you are targeting. You download a list of the top performing Shopify stores. This is public information because they has to be. You could find the owners of those websites. You could rank them by performance of their Shopify store. You could reach out to them by email and simply ask them, hey, we have a better, our top competitors, Stripe and PayPal, offer this, we offer this. And if you have a competitive offer, it's sort of like a no-brainer. So that's sort of a tactic there, but it's all just about figuring out who your target is and finding out how to connect with them. So whether it's getting a list online of their emails or searching on social media, the actual keyword of e-commerce stores and sending a DM to each of those profiles. And yeah, I hope that answered your question. We could definitely dive deeper into sort of tactics and strategies on a consultation call. Hard to answer sort of big strategy stuff in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Great. I see another question here to pay. Sorry if I butcher your name. but I'm seeing the question is, I'm a new business to downtown Trenton. Some of the issues that I'm facing is foot traffic and drawing customers. Can you give any insights on how to bring more people into the area to my store? Thank you in advance. So foot traffic is I'm going to say hard because I don't know what street you're on, so I don't know the actual foot traffic. And if you have more, let's say, opportunity, sort of, can we call it TAM, your total addressable market? I won't know your total addressable market in your local area if I don't know what street you're on, and then do some research on, you know, traffic, cars, people, stuff like that. So let's say that you still have some space to grow, and there is some people that are probably coming by that don't know who you are. Do some sort of event. We see that a lot in local businesses. You do a small event, put some music. If, of course, if it's legal. Again, that's another question. If you could put some little bit of music to attract people into your store, put some signage that says, hey, we're doing this small business Saturday sale, Black Friday sale, things like that. The point is that people won't know you exist if you don't tell them you do every single day. So you can't just sort of expect people to walk into your store without, literally, it's as simple as creating things to get attention, whether it's telling someone, putting a poster, music to attract people. So yeah, you can do that. And then also put sort of signage maybe in other streets that point towards your store. Sort of like when you see garage sale signs that say, hey, there's a garage sale on this street. And you see, and the good ones, if you notice, the good garage sales have signs maybe like 20 blocks down, and then they have them 10 blocks down, and then 5 blocks down, and then right across the street. So same thing with your business if you're local. On the flip side, you can do a Facebook ad campaign that's just local. You do a 5-mile radius, no interests, because Facebook is smart enough. We have AI now, guys. So ChatGPT and Gemini and all this stuff is here to help you. So, yeah, get on a consultation with a marketing consultant. But yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Actually, I want to chime in for a quick second because I did have at one point a small business. Well, I still have a small business, but I had a brick and mortar, you know, a bar restaurant at one point. And one of the things that I did is that I sat outside throughout the day, different times, not in all in one day. It was maybe 2 or 3 weeks or over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. And I would look at who's walking by and at what times, and I would start keeping track. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but I can see that at this time I have younger people, at this time I have older people, I know, and then I try to do a business profile on that person, and then I cater to the market. So I guess it's similar to Chris, what you were talking about a little while ago with the TAM approach, you know. So the idea is understanding who's in my backyard, because if I'm looking at the foot traffic, you know, typically speaking, you know, we could develop a heat map, you know, and say, who's in my vicinity for my type of business. Again, I don't know what type of product or service you offer, but people normally have an amount of time that they're willing to travel to get to a brick and mortar store. You know, for a good slice of pizza, I might travel up to 20, 30 minutes, you know, but I'm not going to travel 4 hours for a good slice of pizza. So I need to market and find out who's in my backyard, and then I cater my product or service to them, or at least the brand or the you know, the marketing, the perspective, or what value am I providing, what service am I giving you guys that is helping solve whatever the problem happens to be. So once I find out who the core target audience happens to be, what Christian was saying, you know, maybe the signage, you know, I enhance the curb appeal, you know, for that demographic. You know, if it's allowed, I will host events. You know, social media is huge. You know, when I look up, you know, pizzas, going back to that example in my neighborhood, I go straight to TikTok, or I'll go straight to Google My Business, you know, which is now called Google Google Profile, right? Google Business Profiles. So
Yep.
are you active with managing your Google Business Profile? That's essential, because that tells me how many reviews, you know, what are other people saying about your business? which will then potentially enhance your foot traffic. Partnering with local businesses is huge. If I'm a pizzeria, maybe I might partner up with a local cafe. If I don't sell coffee. So there's ways to partner with local businesses too, to just cross, kind of do cross marketing, with the other person. But those are the ways that I would look at engaging with the community.
Yeah, yeah. I love that strategy where instead of just like, let's say there's probably always an ROI on pizza. You can get like 3 boxes of pizza, offer free pizza. Hey, come to my store and shop around, right? Or maybe if it's coffee, but instead of just going out to the store and buying it, you can trade, right? You can say, hey, let me put some signage on inside your pizza shop, and I will only buy pizza from you guys when I have events.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. All right. So let's see.
Awesome. I have a question here that's more on the let's say funding side.
Okay.
Vivian asks, do you provide support and funding for starting up a supported living facility?
So yeah. The SBA is a little bit careful. We don't do investments. Well, I can't say we because I'm not the SBA, but the SBA does not do real estate investment companies. So if the purchase of real estate is just to fix and flip, that they can't do. But if it's in a living facility, absolutely. That's there's a lot of support for those type of businesses in general. Now, for starting, depending on the capital requirements, that's what we'll have a discussion and say, these are the tools that are available to help you get to where you want to get to. I might be able to combine, my job is not just to find a loan to service your need, but it might be a combination of different products. It might be a loan along with, a tax credit and along with a grant, and altogether then addresses your concerns and your needs. I think John has something you want to say. Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely.
Ryan, that's spot on. Also, if you are in New Jersey, definitely check out NJEDA. I put that in the Q&A because there's grants and then you're eligible. I know that there's 3 grants and they're stackable. The eligibility, just go to njeda.com and explore more and see if you're eligible. So if you do want to get a loan for assisted living, see if there's some grants available. So maybe you find a place that needs to be overhauled. So NJEDA, a resource that is frequently overlooked.
Yep. So that's exactly what I was talking about, where if we're going to develop the first document that we develop is a use of proceeds, which says this project is going to cost me X amount of dollars. And then I will start to try and match the dollars, where we will try to match the dollars to the source of funding that might be appropriate to that. And typically speaking, if we're starting a brand new business, the SBA allows you to jump into a business again. We're kind of doing a blanket overall statement, so it doesn't apply to all situations. But typically, we can start a business with about 10% of your own capital as the initial equity injection into the project. The other 90% could come from a combination of different sources, which might be one bank loan or 2 different bank loans, or a bank loan and a grant, or a bank loan and 2 grants. But again, the idea is that we're chipping away at the total project cost. So let me see. Where was
I see a question from Amanda.
Yeah, that's one I'm looking at right now. It's funny.
Great. So yes, Amanda asks, I was told on another webinar that the Google profile was mainly for brick and mortar businesses. Would you disagree and say that it is pivotal for any kind of business, even one online? So, I mean, I would say, I don't want to agree or disagree with anyone. The main idea is that the more eyeballs you have, however you can get them, is better for you. So it is useful for online businesses because even if you don't have an address where people can go, there's probably going to be a phone number and a website on your business profile. And again, that's another pair of eyeballs that you're going to get. And also take note that Google also takes into account for SEO ranking purposes your Google My Business profile or Google Business profile. So I'd say any kind of business you have a Google profile.
Yeah. So I have a little bit of a caveat to that. So I do agree with the webinar that you went to, but I also agree with Christian. Any visibility is great visibility. Depending on your business model, you might have a shipping location, or you might have a location like a cafe, for example, that I can package up my coffee and send it over, to people in Texas and California and Florida. So in essence, I am an online business, but I also am a brick and mortar business. So Google My Business or Google Business Profiles now, as it's called now, is geographic based. So it is tough to find a review for Google My Business with Uber, or with Airbnb. So those don't really have a Google My Business profile because their business model doesn't justify it. But if your business model justifies it, like to Christian's point, any exposure could be looked at as good exposure. So to answer the question, depends on your business model.
Awesome. So
yeah.
We'll answer, let's see. Go ahead. You found the question.
Are there specific grants and resources to support urban farms? Specifically with urban farms, I am not aware of any that go after urban farms specifically. I do know the USDA does have a finance department where there are loans. And I do know that if we access grants.gov, they do have a huge database of federally funded grants available, and I can then resort that database to fit my needs and my industry, my geography. So we do have a tool internally that we can scan in real time what grants are available, but doesn't take into consideration every single grant. Because keep in mind, grants come from any source. It can come from a private company, Johnson & Johnson Foundation as an example. And it's hard to manage and look at what Johnson & Johnson Foundation is offering today versus what they're offering yesterday. And some grants are very short-lived. So it's only once the funds run out. Like once a year, I think 10 Wins in New York City and FedEx have short-lived grants every once in a while. But the idea is, if you connect with one of our consultants, we might be able to do a deeper dive into that and find if there's something specific to you, because geography also takes into account what that is. Oh, I seen Don Newman is typing an answer for that one. Perfect. Appreciate it, Don.
Yeah, I was typing in until you took that question. I do have contacts with the Rural Development Team at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So you mentioned them, and that's probably your best option for financing or any other programs that for the urban farming. So reach out to me. I'll make that connection, and they can talk. I'm not familiar with any specific program that they have, but I actually referred someone with a similar question to them just the other day. So I'm happy to do that for you. So just reach out to me.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Awesome. So I think we're a little bit past. Do you have 5 minutes, Ryan? You want to give the people another?
Absolutely. Let's go. I'm getting warmed up now.
All right.
Let's see. The webinar, you showed the one-pager Small Business Saturdays. Oh, where can I find that resource? Oh, yeah, the resource that you prepared, Chris.
Yep. So we're going to share that once you submit the survey that goes out after this webinar ends. So make sure you stay on. It takes 3 minutes. We just want your feedback. But yeah, we're going to share this. Let's see where we have it. This resource here, where it takes you through the steps of how to prepare for the holiday shopping season. So we give you here exciting sort of types of promotions that you can do, how to leverage email and social media, partnering with local organizations. We mentioned to partner with a pizza shop, right? So it's all here. And yeah, we're going to share it right after this webinar. And if not, then feel free to reach out. I'm going to put in an email here, info@njsbdc.com, for any questions around, the shop small season. I see John is saying his goodbyes, everyone. So remember, you can submit questions here, and then we could actually forward them to John if you have any other questions for the SBA.
I do want to just chime in with one other aspect. A lot of us are looking at, what opportunities we're focusing. I've heard a lot of questions on procurement or how can I increase, marketing. Now, as the finance guy, as a finance guy, I give a little bit of attention, or maybe more attention, to making sure that the business sits on a good foundation to be able to support that influx of new jobs that come in. Of new contracts, new clients that come in. So one of the things that I would be doing, and I'll give maybe 5 quick tips or so on how to prepare not only for Small Business Saturdays, but again, any peak season for your particular business. And every business has a different peak season. For a lot of retailers, it might be Christmas, but for maybe a mini golf place, it might be just the summer in general. So one of the things that I would look at is if you're lucky enough to have been around already for a year or two, I would look at the historical financials and then try to work with a finance professional to identify patterns. And those patterns can then identify potential shortfalls in cash flow. And then that's when I will talk to the financiers and see, can I get a line of credit? As an example, most businesses should have a line of credit to satisfy those shortfalls in cash flow, to be able to just take advantage of whatever the opportunity happens to be, a little extra inventory, a little extra marketing dollars, whatever it happens to be, or maybe even temporary staff. Most retail businesses, will hire 2 or 3 additional people for special events or for seasons. So one of the things, again, that would be number one is just cash flow preparation, looking at my historicals, or if it's a brand new business, I'm going to work with, again, a financial professional and develop a pro forma that says, this is what I think is going to be realized with my business, and then we'll go and see how realistic are these expectations, and then create different scenarios. And it will show you, again, same thing, identify all the pain points of the cash flow for the business throughout the year to make sure that we address it, and then we have either reserves or some type of working capital. Something else that we would look at is a lot of businesses do promotions during these times, during Small Business Saturdays, again, or during peak seasons. And during promotional times, you have to keep in mind that while reducing the sale price or creating a sale on an item, it does reduce our margins. So a financial plan is essential to make sure that I know how many units I need to sell to make up for the lost margin in volume, so that I can still hit my debt service or my my profitability ratios, so that I can make sure, again, the goal is always to sustain the business and to grow the business. So keeping those things in mind. Other things that I would be looking at is sales patterns, during these times, who's buying from me. And then maybe I can double down, going back to the question about how to increase foot traffic. If I see that most people are buying from my business this one product, maybe I can advertise that product a little bit more during a certain time, or during a certain, or a certain place, to take advantage of increased foot traffic or increased traffic in general. And then the last item is all of these things that we're doing, all these actions, there's always a tax implication. So make sure that you have that constant communication with your tax preparer. Don't wait till April to have a conversation with your accountant. Have that accountant conversation quarterly to say, hey, I've spent this much money here. I'm going to spend this much money there. What kind of tax implications? And one of the biggest, areas that I feel can really help your bottom line is tax planning. Again, I'm a finance guy, so I come with this with a little bit of a bias, but that's my take on it.
Awesome. So for everyone asking in the chat, you've asked for the holiday success guide. So I put a link in the chat of this success guide. You can go ahead to that and download it. Just click the little down arrow over here. You could print it. Just keep in mind, it's actually longer than a normal, what do you call it?
Document?
8x11
document, yeah.
Document, yeah. So we tried to fit everything on one design here. So we go ahead and send it. We will go ahead and send it via email as well, but we put it in the chat so you could have immediate access to it. Because I know the survey wasn't providing it. I see a question from Sai. Can you please share the URL? Yep. So we just shared it there above. It's the Drive Google link. I'm going to put it one more time here in the chat. You can go ahead and click that link and it'll take you directly to what you're seeing on the screen now. But I think that is pretty much it. Would you say, Ryan?
I think so. Do we have any unanswered questions? Let's see. I think I have maybe one. Let's see, what is this? You know, I own a local trucking company, international shipping business. That is a women minority certified fleet of 26 trucks. You know, I'm finding it difficult to get contracts. Any suggestions? Similar to what Don was saying before. You know, there are conversations that should be held with either the Business Action Center or the SBDC in order to see what specific steps maybe you're missing in your marketing efforts with your business. You know, you already got the certifications, which is fantastic. We've got registered, which is fantastic. We need to make sure that we're knocking on the right doors, presenting the right documents, you know, doing the right type of follow-ups. Because we're still doing sales. It's just the sales is going to be a little bit easier with less competition, but it's still sales.
Awesome, awesome. So that was the last question we are taking for today. We've gone over a little bit for you guys just to make sure we got everyone covered. Thank you all for joining. Remember, next week, is it next week already? 11/21? Yeah, 11/21. We're gonna have this part 2 of building a strong business plan. So if you don't have a business plan already, but maybe you've been in business, I think this is still helpful, because you never know what's going to happen in the future, and planning is going to take into account all these new changes that are happening in the world, right? When it comes to AI, policy changes with the election and all this stuff, right? So I think it's important for everyone that owns a business, no matter if you're big or small, to join this webinar. You can go ahead and scan the QR code to the right to register for this. And that is it for us. Remember, the NJSBDC has helped over 15,000 small businesses grow with 3 things: no-cost consulting, training and events starting at $0, and exclusive small business resources. Thanks again for joining. We wish you well, if I don't see you, I probably won't, but happy Thanksgiving and a happy Black Friday, happy Small Business Saturday, happy Cyber Monday. So I wish success to all you small businesses out there, and kumbaya.
Love it, love it. All right, guys. Mucho thank yous. You know, go make some money.